Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about the 1998 album by Whitney Houston, My Love Is Your Love. Now, sorry for my 3 fans, I have been absent for a while. I did get a job and it made it a little bit more complicated to make videos, so I kind of just lost the drive. And we got a new place, we've moved, so that explains the new background, which is at an actual corner. It's my decor for the apartment. I wanted a corner of vinyl. I've been doing that since I think I was 13 or 14. So maybe if you recognize some discs, let me know in the comments. Anyway, so back to Whitney. So today we're going to be talking about this album. It's a legendary album that I feel at the same time is very underrated. When people think of Whitney Houston, they typically think of I Will Always Love You or I Want to Dance with Somebody, or Greatest Love of All, which those are great songs. No one's going to argue that yet. But I think this is her epic album. I think the peak of her artistry. Maybe not vocally, which we'll go through the songs. However, just in terms of the smoothness and sheerness and maturity and the lyrics and I think that she was more experimental, not super experimental, but I think she was more experimental at this point in her career, and really wanting to show what she was capable of besides ballads, because pop ballads had been taking over the air radio waves, I think, since the 70s, and I think that it was just time for a change. And if you notice, we still have ballads on the charts, Adele, but ballads aren't the main hits anymore. I think that changed probably mostly in the 2000s when there were ballads, but they started to kind of make room more for club tracks and more high energy tracks, stuff like that. But the point is, Whitney was, she a little background on Whitney. I mean, in case you don't know much about her, when she came out, she was presented as a crossover artist. She was a Black artist who sang mostly ballads and a few dance songs, but these dance songs weren't necessarily down and gritty R&B songs. They were very polished, and even though they had R&B influence, they were mostly pop, and most people would consider them pop, such as How Will I Know, which went to #1, and I Want to Dance with Somebody, which also went to #1. In 1990, she changed her sound and went more New Jack Swing with the epic I'm Your Baby Tonight, which included some hit singles such as I'm Your Baby Tonight and My Name Is Not Susan. They were very R&B oriented, and she did a great job with them. However, even though I'm Your Baby Tonight went to #1 as a single, My Name Is Not Susan only went to #20 in the US on the Billboard 100. And I think that Arista saw that maybe Whitney doing R&B wasn't the most commercially lucrative thing ever. However, that might have changed in 1995 when she recorded some songs for Waiting to Exhale, including Exhale, Shoop Shoop, which was written by Babyface, and it became a massive hit. And it was definitely not classic Whitney. It was it was and it wasn't. So it had a lot of influences of the modern R&B of the times. It's very 1995 in the best way possible. And I think that Arista saw, oh wait, she can do R&B, but not hard R&B. Maybe she can do soft R&B and still cross over and make a lot of money. So after that, you had The Preacher's Wife, which was a massive seller, but it was a gospel album. And then we had 1998's My Love Is Your Love. What to me is the most bizarre. What to me is the most bizarre thing about My Love Is Your Love is its debut. It debuted at #13. Now, a little context, it was released on Super Tuesday, when you had an album from a lot of artists released on the same day, including Jewel, who was at the time massively successful with Pieces of You, Garth Brooks, and I know there's some other artists, and I cannot remember, but it was basically called Super Tuesday. And they released so many albums in the US at the same time. And to be fair to Whitney, even though this is the best album cover of the bunch, period, the single that she chose, or that Arista chose for the lead single, was When You Believe with Mariah Carey. The song is great. It just wasn't a massive hit. It wasn't #1. It wasn't even top 10. It went gold, I think, only because it won Best Original Song at the Oscars. It's a good song, but I don't think it was the comeback. I mean, I think they thought it would be a comeback, as in Mariah and Whitney, you can't go wrong. And that's a great idea, like commercially. However, this album is way more than that. And the second single, Heartbreak Hotel, which was released after the album came out, did massively better. It was all over radio, pop radio, R&B radio, even hip hop radio. People were really liking the material after When You Believe. But I mean, I'm not saying that When You Believe is a bad song or a flop. It just wasn't necessarily the best idea in retrospect. And I remember being a kid thinking, When You Believe, like, it's a good song, but this is the first single. Like, I think it was a little outdated. Like, oh, let's put two super divas together and it will be a hit. Like, that's not how things work. And I think we've seen that since then, that just because you have some names on the, on the vinyl sleeve doesn't necessarily mean it will sell if it's a duet or something. It wasn't a gimmick, but anyways, I've been talking about that way too much. So yes, Whitney was influenced to do modern R&B. She was a great big fan of Wyclef and Dark Child. I was gonna say Destiny's Child. And she was a great fan of Babyface, who she'd been working with since 1990, and Diane Warren, who also wrote for the album. She had been writing for Whitney for years as well. And I mean, or maybe Diane Warren. I don't know. Actually, I don't think Diane Warren ever wrote a song for Whitney prior to this. I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't believe she wrote anything for her debut or for her second album. I'm pretty sure she didn't write anything for her third album. I know I'm supposed to know, but I don't know. So let me know in the comments. Did Diane Warren write for Whitney Houston prior to this album? Because I don't think she did. It makes sense that she did. It feels like she would have. But I don't think she did. I think this kind of started their relationship. But anyways, so Whitney was a big fan of them, as well as with Missy Elliott. And she brought in all these super producers to help her make a fresh sound. But if you listen to the album, it's very cohesive. There's a lot of producers, but it's a quite cohesive album. And I think that's because of Whitney's intelligence and how she knew how to present the song, how to sing it. And I mean, she may have heard a demo that was completely different in terms vocally, but she added her flavor to every single song. And I think that's why she stood out more than other singers who were not necessarily songwriters, because she definitely put her own spin, not lyrically, but vocally on everything. She didn't just sing it, she didn't just belt it, she had a style to herself that was beyond any lyric or melody that one could write. It's as if they kind of gave her the blueprint and she made them match, if that makes sense. Anyways, so let's talk about the album. So like I said, the album debuted at number 13 on the Billboard Top 200 charts, which to me at the time and still today is the biggest shock. I think I fainted. I think I had a gay gasp. Like it was just unheard of for Whitney to debut at that. She had sold so many records, and not only that, The Preacher's Wife and Waiting to Exhale, they were massive successes. She was really in. She was very popular at the time. But again, I think When You Believe, and also around this time, you did start having some little controversies about Whitney. They were tiny at the time, but they were something. I don't know if it necessarily hurt sales of the record, but it definitely didn't do as good on the first week as it should have. But that was all changed over the course of the span of time for the singles, because Arista actually gave a lot of effort to promoting the album. Whitney went on tour to a massively successful tour that was designed by Dolce & Gabbana, and she looked amazing. I think she had some of her best looks on this tour. Definitely better than I'm Your Baby Tonight, which we won't talk about those looks, but much better. The new Whitney was much improved. Then you had a really cool video for every single song. You had Heartbreak Hotel, which was with Kelly Price and Faith Evans. That was an amazing video. It's Not Right But It's Okay. Everybody knows that because of the Thunderpuss remix in the clubs. And I mean, I was too young to go to the club when it came out, but when I went to the club years later, they played it. It was just, it's considered a classic of clubs. And it was definitely one of the reasons that Whitney kind of remained extremely relevant, even without the massive sales, is the remixes. They really brought songs that were good in the first place. They really brought them to a different market. that I feel that the record companies didn't necessarily tap into before. They had remixes for every song before. It's just that to market it as a remix video on regular rotation and put it out there, that was quite rare. And Madonna had done it, I think, maybe once or twice. It wasn't a common thing. Toni Braxton, I think, had it. Mariah Carey, I think. But it wasn't the commonality of what to do with an album, especially an R&B album, with a pop artist. She wasn't a dance artist. She had some dance singles like Queen of the Night and I'm Every Woman, I Want to Dance with Somebody, but she wasn't a dance diva. She was a pop artist with some dance songs and R&B influences, if that makes sense. So let's talk about the album sonically and lyrically, all that. So I'll do my regular review and we'll talk about the songs and any little side notes as we go along. Let me know in the comments what you think is the best song and the worst song on the album, because I definitely have an opinion on the worst song and I don't think I'm going to be alone. I think everybody thinks the same thing. And it's not even a bad song, it's just the weakest. If you have 12 items and they're all amazing, there's going to be a weakest. It doesn't matter how good it is. But this one is, I think, not by far the weakest, but definitely the stick out of the weakest. You know what I mean? Like it's quite obvious it's the weakest. Okay, so the first song so this is the vinyl, which by the way is very rare. I got it at a shop in Paris for a good price and very happy. It's a great condition. So my vinyl track listing is different from the CD, and I do believe it's different from iTunes and Spotify. So when I go and order, it's my vinyl order, because that's what I review, it's going to be different than your Spotify order. But I guess you could put it in order if you wanted to. You don't have to, but you could. Anyways, Heartbreak Hotel is the first song on the album, and I think that is an amazing song. That should have been the first single. If you want to put some powerhouses together, yes, Mariah Carey's great. I love Mariah Carey. She's in my top 10 of all time. However, this collaboration, I feel, was much better. It's just a better song. There was some accusations that they plagiarized Careless Whisper by George Michael, but I mean, yeah, it does have the same chord structure. It's like da 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 da, and you really don't know what song I'm singing because it could be either one. It's a fresh, clean sounding song. It's catchy. It's vibrant. The video is very stylized. Whitney's wearing Dolce & Gabbana. She's on the beach in a fur coat, which I hope is fake. It's just an amazing video. It's literally just them kind of singing to the camera. There's not like an overarching theme. The song is basically about a man doing a woman wrong and lying to her, and he's out and with some other woman or man, and she's living in Heartbreak Hotel basically because he's doing her wrong. But she's letting him know that she just wants some of his time, and why are you doing this to me? So it's a great song. Definitely one of her best. I think I would definitely put it in her top 10 of all time. It's so catchy. It's so well done. Whitney breathes so much life into it. I can imagine like other artists doing this song and really not taking it to that level. Faith Evans and Kelly Price really they're not background singers. They really are like the second and third singers, lead singers. She really gives them room to breathe and a chance to show off. It's great because they're amazing artists. So that is the collaboration of the album for me. It's not right, but it's okay. This is a song that was remixed by Thunderpuss and was all over the gay clubs and the straight clubs and every club. It's a great song. However, I think the remix really elevates it from like being a 7.5 to like a 10. It's a great song, and it has... Okay, so here's my concern about It's Not Right, But It's Okay. She says that they went to dinner and they must have been cheap because there was only 2 charges of dinner on the receipt. However, did she expect, I guess, the character in the story to pay for everybody? Maybe this person, like her spouse in the story, paid for 2 people and then the rest paid for themselves. And then she says only 2 of you had dinner. So Does that mean that nobody else ate because of the bill? I don't know. It doesn't make sense necessarily. I think it just lyrically works like thrice. It just okay. It doesn't belong. It doesn't really make sense. But let's put it in the song. So that to me doesn't make sense. But the song is great. It's very catchy. It's empowering. It's saying basically it's not right what you're doing, but it's okay. I will be okay. Basically. So whatever. Who cares? Just moving on. And there's not really any cynicism to it. She's just basically tired of it. You know, Whitney still believes in love. You can tell she still has the romance in her in the song, and she shows that in her vocals. Like she's upset because it hurts because she gave him so much love, and here she is being betrayed. So, you know, it's just a great song overall. So let's move on. So It's Not Right, It's Okay. It's also so both Heartbreak Hotel and It's Not Right, It's Okay. They're both like this mid-tempo R&B groove, and they're very like smooth, and the whole album is kind of like that, where she kind of, she's not like over singing, she's not belting so much, but she does here and there. It's like a spice at that point where it's in there, but it's not necessarily the main event, you know, the main event. So the next song is Get It Back. This is probably what I would consider a little filler. It definitely has the same like sound of the record. It fits, but it's good. But it's like it's good. I think I mean, I don't know. It's in a top tier filler, if that makes sense. It's a really good song. It's again mid-tempo R&B. I do like it, and I would not like I wouldn't skip it or anything. I wouldn't like take it off the record. It's just when I think about, you know, as I'm thinking about it, it is good. It is good. I'm sorry. It's good. It's not top tier filler. It belongs on the record. It's a gem. It's a hidden gem. If I Told You That. Now, this is, I think, where things get really cool and interesting. This is, she worked with Dark Child on this one as well. It was later re-recorded with George Michael and released as a single in the US for her Greatest Hits album in 2000. However, this was a solo version. So if you like the song, but for some reason don't want to hear George Michael, it does exist. Although I think that, I mean, I kind of see that. Like if you're a completionist and you're like, well, I want to hear just Whitney's voice, this has it. It's a great song. It's extremely catchy. It's very much of the time of 98, 99 R&B pop music. It kind of sounds like If I Told You That. I'm sorry. If You Had My Love by J-Lo. It has that same, I guess, chord structure, but they don't sound the same. They're very different songs. However, this one was first, and you know, I think Dark Child just he was influenced by a certain chord structure, because da 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 da, and it's like, if you had my love. Yeah, they're different, but there's like this, how do you call it, like ascending chord structure, if that's right. I don't know, probably not. I studied music, but I really don't know much about like musical terms in terms of the notes and stuff. But anyway, so If I Told You That, it's a great song and one of the best on the album. I can see why it wasn't a single by herself, because it's definitely, with the duet with George Michael, really breathes more life into it. But it's really good. Like, it's basically about her being in love with her friend and wanting to know, like, hey, if I told you I'm in love with you, would that change things? Would it make things the same? I don't see how they would make things the same, but it's just an amazing song, and I think that it's one of her best, like definitely top 15 period. It's so good. And I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh, what about, you know, Greatest Love of All and How Will I Know, and I don't know. We'll talk about that after. I would like to talk about Whitney's discography overall and my thoughts at the end. So stay till the end. Okay, so oh yes, this is the weakest on the album. I think everybody agrees. It's produced by Whitney. It's produced by Missy Elliott. It has a great intro with like these flutes, and it's sultry and subtle, and it just doesn't go anywhere. It's very mid-tempo, a little bit slower R&B music, and It's definitely not a ballad. I mean, it has the same feel as the rest of the record, but it's it drags, and it has this very a very like uncatchy or non-catchy melody for the chorus. Not her best song, not a bad song. It's just, even if it plays in the background, like if I'm spinning the record and I'm just listening, I'm like, oh gosh, it's kind of drags. But it's not a bad song. It's a good song. It is the weakest on the album. However, I wouldn't consider it to be one of her worst songs. I mean, she has worse songs. Yeah, worse songs. I'm an English teacher. I should know that. All right, then I have I Bow Out. I Bow Out. That is an amazing song. It's definitely return to form. It's definitely more of an R&B ballad, and it's again about heartbreak and all this, and she's basically saying, I'm leaving, I bow out, bye, like, you know, whatever. And it's a great song, and it's catchy. Again, it's mid-tempo R&B, a little bit more ballad-esque, but it has a lot of character to it, and she really sells the idea that she's like this woman scorned. Like, there's a lot of songs about that, and she doesn't make it repetitive. Oh yes, a song from before. Oh, there's my cat. Hello, Jade. Say hello. Okay. So, what's it called? Oh yes, is a love song. And Jade, baby girl, don't knock over the camera. Okay. All right. There you go. Okay, honey. All right. So, oh, here she goes again. All right. So then we have "My Love Is Your Love," which was written and produced by Wyclef Jean, who was the one of the members of the Fugees, and he went on to produce a lot of singles such as "Hips Don't Lie" for Shakira. And other songs. He was quite popular in the 2000s. Although I kind of feel he's overrated. He does a good job with Whitney. Again, Whitney makes a lot of magic out of non-magical things. It's a song about like the end of the world and how she would still want to be with her love. And she doesn't necessarily like name this person. Like, oh, it really could be anybody in her life. But it's definitely a love song. Like, it could be to a child or to a mother, to Auntie Dion or Aretha. No, I am pretty sure it's about Bobby Christina. And it's a beautiful song. It's literally detailing like the end of the world and what's going on, and like Armageddon Day or the Revelations time. And it's just a beautiful song saying that no matter what, I love you, and I'm not ashamed of that, and I would tell anybody, it doesn't matter what happens, I love you. Like, it's a very pure love song. It's not just saying, I love you through the wilderness. It's literally like saying, it's the end of the world, I have one person, and it's going to be you. So, it's a beautiful love song. Is it my favorite? No. The remixes are good. I believe Jonathan Peters did this one justice. Not my favorite, although I do like the remix. If it's at the club, I'm gonna dance. Speaking of that, any Whitney remix, I'm going to dance. She has really good remixes. I would say Whitney has better remixes than Madonna, than Kylie Minogue, and than Janet. You know, Janet has some good ones. Madonna has some good ones. But I think Whitney Arista really knew how to pick remixers and DJ and producers for her remixes. And My Love Is Your Love has a really good remix. It's just a lot of fun. It was all over the dance radios and such. And it's not considered as much of a classic as It's Not Right But It's Okay, but it's definitely still around. I mean, people still remember My Love Is Your Love. I think mostly for its original form. But it's a good song. Again, it's not my favorite on the album or even top 5, but it's a good song. In My Business, this is also with Missy Elliott, and it's a huge step forward. Over Oh Yes. This is Whitney kind of lashing out about the paparazzi and the media, kind of in the same vein as Michael Jackson had done, or Madonna, like, hey, you're in my business all the time. And they still are. I mean, there's still so much speculation about Whitney's life. You have all these documentaries coming out from these family members, and they're talking about rumors about Whitney and putting out new allegations about stuff that happened to her, stuff that she did. Like, she has been passed for 10 years, and we still have these things from the media, and it's very sad because Whitney was a vocal talent. She was a gift, and as a person, I think she was a beautiful person. Like, you can really tell how wonderful she was. Did she struggle? Of course, everyone does. But is that anyone's business? Like, I know it's nice, juicy gossip, but it doesn't necessarily make it for, like, the right thing to, like, exploit. I mean, she's passed. Let her rest in peace. And there's just so many people coming out with books and there's documentaries, and they're not even good documentaries. They're not even, like, well done, and it really puts a spin on her family and the people around her. Anyways, so this song, even during her life, there was a lot of gossip around her. Usually at this point, there was a lot of gossip about her and her marriage with Bobby Brown, and I think that's the first time I've mentioned his name. There was so much, like, tabloid fodder. You couldn't, I mean, if you had to be around, like, even as a kid, I saw it. I knew that her and Bobby together was a tabloid thing. And it's quite bizarre, like, looking back at it. Like, all they said was basically, are they gonna last? And they would look at his exploits and stuff like that. And it got worse and worse and worse and worse, but still, they did have a love. I can't judge it. I know that a lot of Whitney fans have their opinions on Bobby Brown, and I don't really think this is the place to discuss it. But basically, that's what the song is about, is all the kind of like mass hysteria. Well, that's the wrong word, but like mass media, there you go, mass media focus on her and her love life and her husband and her kids, and just a lot of that about her, and it was very disrespectful. And I think the song is like, you need to stay out of my business. It's not targeted at the media in the song, but it's kind of just a general, like, idea. However, it's obvious. Later, she would go on to be a little bit more forthright with What You're Looking At, which was a great song that flopped in, I believe 2002 or 3. Please tell me in the comments. I know, because my Paula Abdul video, I got a lot of stuff wrong for Spellbound, and I had like some comments like, oh, sorry. Like, I do this without a script, so it's literally by memory. And yeah, I don't have it playing in the background. I don't have a screen in front of me telling me all the facts. So I do believe Just Whitney came out in 2003, and What You're Looking At was the first single, and it didn't do very well. It actually didn't do well at all, and I loved it. And I still know people to this day, like massive Whitney fans, who don't like it. I just think it's good. I don't mind whenever an artist attacks the media, like Michael Jackson or Madonna. I think it's fun. Attack them. Why not? It's just a song. It's just an opinion. Anyway, I Was Made to Love Him. This was with Lauryn Hill, Miss Lauryn Hill. It's good. It's definitely the stand out of the album in terms of sonically. It doesn't quite fit that smooth R&B sound that was done in the album. It's a little more funkier, a little bit more gritty. It's good, but I definitely think that if it wasn't on the album, I don't think I would miss it. I wouldn't delete it, and it's definitely stronger than Oh Yes. It's a good song. It's just a love song, and it's about love, and it's great. It's great. It's just not necessarily. I mean, okay, this album is so amazing that you have some songs that are just not quite as amazing, no matter who they're produced by. And by the way, Lauryn Hill is an amazing producer. However, I have noticed that songs she produces for other artists, they're great. They sound amazing, but something about like keeping the momentum going, like A Rose Is Still a Rose by Aretha Franklin, and All That I Can Say by Mary J. Blige, they sound amazing. If you listen to like a minute of them, you're like, wow, this is amazing production. But as it keeps going, you're like, okay. Like, I love those songs, and I'm a big fan of both Aretha and Mary J. Blige, but there's just something about the production with Lauryn Hill. It's like, she was very talented, but I don't know if she could keep that momentum in a song, other than on her album, which did. But I think Again, I think she had a little bit more help, but that's all with the legal stuff. But anyways, that's with Lauryn Hill. So we have the last four songs. I Learned from the Best, which was also a single and also a remix. This one was done by H2Q. It was, yeah, H2Q. But the original was actually really good. Whitney said she wanted some Chicago horns, meaning the band Chicago, because David Foster produced a song, and this was one with Diane Warren. You would think this would be the sappiest song ever. It's actually really well done. It reminds me a little bit of Lisa Stansfield, I Cried My Last Tear Last Night, because it's like the way it's written, it's kind of like, you thought I was over, you thought, like it's very step one, pass, step two, pass, step three, pass. Basically she's dating a cartoon villain who is in his room like cackling at the idea of Whitney crying, and Whitney is so like, it's like now she has that like heartless mentality kind of thing. I learned from the best, meaning you. Because he wants her back. So, and it's like, I would have sold my soul then just to have you back again. She really loved him, and here she is saying, "You're back, but bye. I don't want you. I don't need you, because of the way you treated me after the break or during the breakup, and all that stuff." So it's a great song. It's just so cartoonishly outlandish that he's like this monster villain who's thriving on her hurt. Which I don't know if that's very common. Like, do people do that? Put in the comments. Do you do that? Like, if you're breaking up with someone, that's good. So yeah, that one is actually really good. One of my favorites. It's just very polished, well done. Whitney really takes it to the next level. Has beautiful production parts. It's done by professionals. You can tell it's very polished. Or as they say in French. Oh wait, what do they say in French? Oh, I always forget French. I'm learning French and I forget the French words when I'm thinking of it. In Spanish, it's pulido. And then in French, it's glissant. So glissant also means like slippery. So it's shiny, slippery, which makes sense. Anyways, Until You Come Back. This is another great song. This is classic Whitney. It's going back to her ballad days, and which she never left those ballad days, but here they are. And it's just very smooth. It's done in a slight different key structure than the rest of the album, so it does stand out a little bit. It's a little, I don't want to say doo-woppy, but there is a doo-wop aspect to it, a very slow doo-wop aspect. And it's just a great song. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. And yeah, it's just a great song. I mean, there's not much to say about it other than it's just a nice little album track and one of the best ballads of the album. I mean, I think there's only like 5 ballads. All the ballads are good, so you're great with it. If you do like ballad Whitney, there are some great ballads on this album. It's not really just R&B. I mean, because I can see how that can turn off her main. I mean, she sold so many records, hundreds of millions of records, and a lot of that was her ballad-based songs. Those were her hits for the most part. I know, not the whole thing, but I mean, if people think back to I'm Your Baby Tonight, they think of All the Men That I Need, and they also think of I'm Your Baby Tonight, but they think of All the Men That I Need. The next song is When You Believe, the duet with Mariah Carey for the Prince of Egypt film. It was written by Babyface, and it's a good song. It's basically about faith and like how when you believe things are possible. It's a little cheesy, but they definitely make it work. Whitney and Mariah do great vocally together. It was, Mariah had just done the Butterfly record, and Whitney was also progressing to a new sound. I mean, they were at very similar spots in their career at the time. I mean, both albums, Butterfly and My Love Is Your Love, both kind of suffered from sales because it wasn't their typical sound, and their sound was still in. I mean, ballads were still big at the time. My Heart Will Go On was massive. I think it was the biggest song of the year for 97 and 98. But this one, I think, between Mariah and Whitney, it's one of the best duets of all time. And I am not a fan of duets at all. But I think Whitney did a really good job with duets. I think I don't know what it was, but there are so many Whitney duets, and I'm like, I can't really think of a bad one. They're all so good. You know, you have same script, different cast with Deborah Cox. You have If I Told You That with George Michael. Could I Have This Kiss Forever with Enrique Iglesias. Hold Me with Teddy Pendergrass. Take Good Care of My Heart with Jermaine Jackson. I mean, those are all great songs. Like, I can't really think of a bad Whitney duet. And the best duet, it isn't, it wasn't, it ain't never gonna be with Aretha Franklin. Now that's a good duet. However, I'm not a big fan of duets in general, and I think that most artists really just do it for commercial gain or whatever. Maybe Whitney did too. I don't know, but she just did such a good job with it that I'm a fan of it. You know, it's good. It's good. So let's talk about the last song, You'll Never Stand Alone, which is the sappiest song on the album, but it's so beautiful and so well done. It is literally one of my favorites on the album. I can't really rank this album in terms of number one, number two. It's more like top five. And this would definitely be top five. You'll Never Stand Alone was a song done, I believe with Babyface. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have the productions right here. They don't, it doesn't say. It sounds like Babyface, so I think it's Babyface. And it was remixed by Mike Rizzo, and it was such a good remix. And then I heard the original, I was like, wow, it's so clean cut and beautiful and polished and well produced. But Whitney just really puts it there that she's putting her hand out to someone who really needs help. You know, whether it's someone suffering from depression or just hard times or whatever, or someone who just needs someone, and there she is. But on the surface, it's like very sappy. But if you listen to it and actually get into the song, it's really beautiful. It's far beyond what it should be. And I think that's the magic of Whitney overall. It's just how good she can make a song that literally shouldn't be that good. Like, it should be like a 5. I think if it was done by somebody else, it would have been a 5. And I love the melody, and I love the production. It's just something about the way she sings it really saves it from being just a mediocre, sappy song. And I think that's the power of Whitney overall. And I think that's why she's so missed, and her legacy will continue, is because she had that vocal, not only talent, but I think genius to it, you know. And she never really got called a genius, even though she's like one of the biggest selling artists of all time. She has so many hits. I don't think she's gotten her musical due. And the reason I think that is because she had so many pop ballads, and she had so many, like, How Will I Know, like, you know, kind of cheesy pop dance songs. Like, but I think she deserves the credibility of, you know, all these other artists who are getting all this, you know, acclaim and such. And she doesn't necessarily, she's called the voice. I don't know. I feel like it's understatement. That's like, she has a lot more to her than the voice. It's not just her ability to hit notes. You know, she's not a machine. So, anyways, in retrospect of all her albums released, I think this is her best by far. It's the most cohesive. It doesn't have her best songs. I mean, it's definitely full of great songs. Oh, my cat just moved the camera, and I just moved it again. Okay, it's definitely not full of Whitney classics, like every song that you'll know from just a quick search. I mean, you definitely have, it's a deep dive album. And I think that, okay, Jay, baby girl. This is my cat again. Okay, honey, let's get off the table. Come on. Okay, anyway, sorry. Sorry, she's still there. When it was released, it wasn't like I said, number 13. It debuted at number 13, but it went on to become a multi-platinum success, and that's because of the great singles and the push that she did for the album. And she also did Divas Live, and she did Divas Live, and she did a lot of live performances, more interviews than usual. And actually, there were some really good interviews at the time where she actually spoke in detail about the album, like the songs. It's really cool to hear Whitney talk about her music and not the gossip and not, you know, her pregnancy and movies and her life and her mom, but her music. And it's such a cool interview. Just look at My Love Is Your Love interview. Like, she had a lot to her. She was a great person. She's very interesting. And a lot of that got lost in translation, I think, with her fame and the media, which, oh my God, the media. And they're just as bad now. I know people say, oh, the media was worse before. Yeah, I guess maybe the paparazzi were, but yeah, it's still pretty bad. Anyways, I highly suggest this album, and I highly suggest the vinyl. Whitney's estate is not giving us this album on vinyl. They're not releasing just Whitney on vinyl, nor are they releasing I Look to You on vinyl. This is an opportunity to make the easiest money in human history, and they are failing at it. They are not putting in the effort to put these out in stores, in print. Just Whitney and I Look to You were never released on vinyl. So putting them out on vinyl, even at an escalated price, would definitely get them a, massive profit. However, the people who run Whitney's estate, let's just say they run the estate. They do. That's what they do. And I, as a fan, would like to see those records in stores to buy. And this one could be reprinted, maybe in the original track listing, because they do change the track listing, which I think works because they put the more similar sounding songs together, and that kind of makes it a little bit more cohesive. Although it kind of messes with the mix of it. Like if you're looking for a more diverse listen, this isn't necessarily that, if that makes sense. So I definitely suggest this album. Let me know in the comments your favorite songs on the album, your least favorite songs, your favorite video, and definitely your favorite remixes. Sorry I was going for so long. I'll try to make these more often now for my 3 fans, because I know you guys like to watch these. I've actually made a good friend from my video, and he lives in Paris. So it's really cool. He watched my Janet 93 review. So please leave in the comments your thoughts on this review and what you would like next. I have a lot of new albums that I like to review, and I will review them. So just put in the comments. I still need to do The Heat by Toni Braxton, although now I could do her debut, I could do Secrets, I could do her last album. I mean, yeah. So, all right. So let me know what you think about the album and the review in the comments. I just said that, and well, have a good day.